See him come out 3 hours later. I can't pay this. Let me talk to you, baby. Please, let me talk to the witness, Your Honor. Let me talk to the witness. Brother be working for 3 weeks, get his check, is $43.
This year, for the first time ever, we have set aside a limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon. They are going to go fast, and when they're gone, they're gone. So, if you want a single ticket, or if your company or organization wants to sponsor a table, move swiftly and get to KBLA1580.com right now. All these comedy giants in one room on one stage at the same time? Stop it! This event is going to sell out quicker than right now and sooner than at once. KBLA Talk 1580's annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. It's gonna be legendary, just like them.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
KBLA Talk 1580. A little uplifting music for your timeline refresher. Will that cleanse our timeline, Miles? I think
Woosah.
so. Woosah. Timeline cleanse. What a perfect day to have our next guest. She's been a human and civil rights attorney with a specialty in criminal defense since the 90s. Graduated from Cornell, got her law degree from UCLA. And has done a lot of work as an activist over the years. Currently, the executive director of Black Alliance for Just Immigration, Attorney Nana Gyamfi. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be on. You said since the 90s. I said, oh, my gosh, that's a long time.
Well, that's what your bio says, girl. I'm just reading your bio, okay? It wasn't a judgment. I was doing what I tell other people to do. Don't read.
Yeah, thank you so much. Always glad to be on here with you, Dominique.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on, and I know you have some new initiatives going on with Baji. I don't know how you are keeping up right now. It seems like the issue of immigration, it's like that and our overseas foreign wars are the main things that this administration is focusing on. Not the economy, not even the election, not affordability, not, child care, school. It's really ICE, foreign wars, and foreign tariffs.
Yes. But I think a lot of that is because this administration has a really good understanding of, the people of the United States. And it understands that if it makes it appear as if the focus is other people, that people will not notice what is happening to themselves, right? And so, of course, immigration, foreign wars are connected. Even tariffs. immigration are connected in the sense that when you make it difficult for folks economically, then people get more upset. And, who is paying the tariffs? We are paying the tariffs, right? And so people get more upset, and then because they feel like their dollar has shrunk, which it has, and then they start looking around at who they can blame and be upset with. But I think that we should be sure not to fall for their bait. Yes, we've got to deal with immigration. Yes, we've got to focus on foreign wars. But we know that this regime hates nothing more than it hates Black people, whether those people are Black Americans or whether those people are Black immigrant, and that we are always the focus whatever happens. I think Minneapolis is a clear example of that. He has gone the hardest in the city that in their imagination is, and in truth, is where the 2020 protests, George Floyd protests, broke out, where wokeness, as far as they're concerned, was born, and the place where the Somali, who have some special space in his brain, he can't talk about a peanut butter sandwich without talking about Representative Omar, in his mind, also reign supreme. And so he's attacked the city the way he's attacked it. Remember, he went there for Somali fraud, because of what it represents. Literally, it represents the opposite of the racist Euro future that they want. They got all these white folks standing up for black folks, brown folks, Asians, Native Americans out there. That is not the world that they're looking for. It's the opposite, and that's why they're going so hard.
Okay, so this morning or last night, I guess we heard that they pulled the Nazi cosplay guy, and they're bringing in Tom Homan. Greg Bovino is the guy I'm calling Nazi cosplay guy, because he wears the Hitler coats and that white supremacist haircut. And they're bringing in Tom Homan, who was the one that was threatening Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass, with arrest when they were in L.A. What do you make of that?
Well, this is them trying to switch out action figure dolls, right? And so the first action figure doll was the commander, the general, the Nazi, And what did Bovino do? The man was not doing anything. He was just showing up at places, getting booed, getting run out of Target, getting run out of the gas station, getting run out. That's all he was doing, getting cussed out by Somali Uber drivers and Nigerian Uber. This was all. There was nothing happening, but it was visual, right? He had the visual. And so they decided to pull him because they see that people are really upset, in particular, white folks. And so now they're bringing in the slicker guy. You know what I mean? He's not going to be wearing a Nazi outfit. He's going to be wearing a suit, and he's going to be trying to sound normal. This is someone, after all, who also worked under the Obama administration. So he knows how to be more like a fox than a wolf. He'll still say wolf stuff, but he just won't look so woofy, And so that's the attempt. And, people will clearly not go for it because it's not just about how people look. This administration, this regime is still going to insist that they say and do horrible things. And that is what people are pushing back against.
Well, and speaking of switching out action figures, another more fox-looking wolf apparently is the acting director of ICE, Todd Lyons, who a federal judge in Minnesota ordered, he threatened to hold him in contempt for ignoring court orders, and ordered him to appear in court Friday to answer questions about this guy named Juan Tobe Robles, who was arrested earlier this month in Minnesota, and to explain why he wasn't given a bond, a hearing, or released from detention within 7 days of the judge ordering the Trump administration to do so. Does this signal like, okay, we're going to try to hold this administration to the law, or is this a one-off? How do you see this?
Well, I see this as another example, and we've seen many over our time up in this movement, right, Dominique, where when the people speak up, when the people show up and show out that sometimes you will have a judge here and there who says, hey, let me, I'm buoyed by the people. Let me now make some moves that maybe wouldn't necessarily be made otherwise. And you've had that across the country. So it's not the first time that has happened. One thing about this regime, which, we always talk about, it's the who gonna check me boo, the who gonna check me boo regime.
Yeah.
And, it got to be checked. I mean, there's got to be more judges that are willing to do that. Of course, this is a regime that also threatens judges. Let us not forget that. And in Minnesota has their minions have assassinated sitting legislators. Therefore, I'm not saying it's confusing as to why judges don't want to step up and check, because this is real, this is a really serious thing. You could look up and find that these people are trying to shoot your loved ones, right? There was a judge where that had happened. And so it is dangerous. And so kudos to that judge for saying, nah, we're going to make you have to do something here. And, again, we've got to continue to support every avenue that folks are using, every serious avenue, not let's give ICE more funding, but every serious avenue that folks are pursuing that will end these invasions of the body snatchers.
Yeah. It's pretty overwhelming. There's been a fairly robust conversation on this show the last few days with black men saying they don't want to hear it. In a way, it's like, we're always under attack. And so white folks freaking out because federal agents are shooting them down in the street with no warning, no due process, no remorse, and little or no investigation. It's not shocking to us. I get that, the killing of Renee Good, the murder of Alex Pretty, these guys, it's very shocking to most Americans, but I'm hearing black men say, not shocking to us. It's just what always happens to us happening to white folks. And some saying, I don't really want to step up and protest with them because of that. How would you respond to that?
So, I mean, in a general sense, I understand that, and I think that's fair. Look, we all have different roles that we're supposed to play. Some of us are supposed to. We can't help it. You know what I mean? It's in our DNA. We are going to fight for the people, period. That's what we're going to do. The idea that we're going to slumber when it's time to engage, that's just not our vibe, because that's not who we are. And everyone has different roles. It absolutely makes sense to say, hey, now you see it. We've been trying to tell you this. We've been talking about this. We've been experiencing this. And look, black migrants could be saying the same thing, and some are saying the same thing. Hey, we are the people telling you that this law enforcement on the federal side, even on the local and state side, when it comes to policing and immigration enforcement, are just different parts of the same system. And now that you all are experiencing how, they will grab up U.S. citizens, now you're all traumatized. Or now, as they're killing and torturing white people, now you all are traumatized. And I think that's fair for people to feel that way, and for people to express that, and for people to decide that because of that, they're not going to get engaged. I will say that we're not going to get to the world that we want if we don't get at least 3.1%, they say, of the population to understand that we need to move and we need to do something, right? And so those are the folks that we're looking at as Baji, as our partners, as others who are trying to make another world. We're saying, yes, we get it, we understand, and we're, some of us like myself, we're black too, and we've been screaming at the top of our lungs. This is my 30 years worth of work on this issue, particularly of criminalization, police violence, all of those pieces. But that doesn't mean that when, some white people look up and decide that, oh, this means me too, that I say, yeah, fool, and, turn my back and move on. It's like, yeah, so join us. Welcome to the party. And here's your part that you're supposed to play. Please do it so we don't have to cuss you out. And we will move forward together to slay this dragon. But we are being invaded by the body snatchers. This regime is building a tax taxpayer-funded, private, authoritarian army that will grab those same black men first as soon as they get around the corner. And so we've got to fight them.
Well said. We'll continue this conversation. You're invited in at 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Let's do this. On the evening of Monday, January 26th, something special happened. Hundreds of people joined me for a live preview session on the anatomy of a great conversation, and we went deep, for starters, on the notion of curiosity. I mean, real curiosity. The kind that transforms how you connect with anyone, anywhere. We explored why most conversations fall flat, and I revealed 3 of the top 5 killers of curiosity that sabotage even the best communicators. But here's the thing, we only scratched the surface. The full 4-week journey begins Monday, February 16th with the Founding Members Cohort. This course is for podcasters, leaders, entrepreneurs, anyone who knows that your next great opportunity can begin or end with the quality of a conversation. Space in this founding cohort is limited, so go to TavishTalks.com right now. That's TavishTalks.com. Click register or scan the QR code. Don't let this conversation happen without you.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized, the families who watched their inheritance disappear, the wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
Yes, it does. And we're talking with attorney Nana Gyamfi, who's also the executive director of Black Alliance for Just Immigration, this morning at 9 o'clock at LAPD headquarters. Black Lives Matter LA, along with some faith leaders and others, are delivering a petition to LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell around the murder of Keith Porter Jr. by allegedly by an off-duty ICE agent named Brian Palacios. They are calling, their demands are the immediate end to the character assassination of Keith Porter by the LAPD and the press, and retraction of any statements that refer to him as a suspect or an active shooter. The off-duty ICE agent to be named and identified, and the off-duty ICE agent be arrested and presented to the DA for prosecution. That's happening at 9 o'clock this morning. It's not too late to sign that petition. You can go to tinyurl.com/sign for Keith. Keith Porter is not an immigrant, but he was killed by ICE, a black man killed in Northridge, California. I wonder if you have any thoughts about that in relation to where we are in your fight, working immigrants, but immigrants nonetheless, in this crazy moment of ICE I don't know what you call it, activity?
We call it the invasion of the body snatchers. First of all, because it's more than ICE. It is ICE. It is all the federal agents, FBI, DEA, ATF, and it's the mass mercenaries that people just describe as ICE, but we don't actually know who those people are. Those people are Blackwaterish type people. You know what I mean? And so we call them the body snatchers. It's just they are coming, they are snatching bodies, and this regime is grabbing and hiring whoever they can with the monies they can. Yes, Baji actually did a statement about Keith Porter, and Keith Porter is a person that we have been, Keith Porter Jr. is a person that we've been lifting up in terms of the example of how, again, this machine that seems to be separate parts is actually one part and something that we need to be concerned about. We are not saying to people, you see, now Black Americans who are just enjoying their New Year's Eve are being killed. We told you so, as some would do. We're actually saying, yes, this is what the intention has been all along, to create this private military that the regime has that's being told, Dominique, that the worst abuses, the worst violations of the criminal enforcement, right, the policing side of this machine are the playbook. This is the policy and procedure manual for the body snatchers. They're being told this is how you get to be. And remember J.D. Vance saying to them, you have absolute immunity.
Yep.
And so you have people that understand and have been told that they can engage in the worst of behaviors and violations, that they have absolute immunity. And, it's not a dog whistle. They've been let to know directly that they may attack Black and brown people regardless of citizenship. And that's what they're doing. And what came to mind immediately for me, of course, besides the sadness, was Botham Jean, the brother, who was sitting up from St. Lucia, happily sitting in his apartment in Dallas, and then this Dallas off-duty cop comes and kills him while he's eating ice cream watching the NFL game, right? And so I think that it's critical that we see the linkages, that we understand that all that's happening is immigration enforcement being used as the tip of the spear to expand the police state. And whenever you're expanding the police state, Black people, when I say Black, I don't just mean Black Americans, Black people need to be clear that we are going to end up being those who are disproportionately harmed, violated, killed.
I was putting in this Economist YouGov poll. They found that 46% of Americans now want to eliminate ICE compared to 43% who want to keep it. That trend line is moving fast, right? When you hear abolish ICE going into the mainstream, does that encourage you, or is it just another kind of illusion? Because you just said it's not just ICE, it's the FBI, the DEA, the shadow mercenary armies, and whatever other folks are being brought in, some local police departments, in some cases, branches of the military. How do you see it?
So we're glad to hear people say abolish ICE in the same way they were glad to hear people say abolish police. But you cannot spell police without ICE, right? It's POL-ICE. They are connected. And at the end of the day, if you're not really talking about having a completely different way of addressing immigration, for example, on the when we're talking about immigration enforcement, then you're not saying much, because they're just ICE is new. It's not like ICE has been here since the beginning. They will abolish ICE. They will come up with some foxy looking stuff, you know what I mean? And they will say, here you go, isn't this much better? And I'm telling you that the majority of the people that now are saying abolish ICE will say, oh yeah, that's much better, and move on. Even though it's still separating families, even though it's still propping up mass incarceration with private prisons, even though it is still allowing cops to come in and to harm people, hurt people, and kill people. it's still, that people will be satisfied. In the same way that on the policing end, once you start talking about that police chief is a good police chief and those cops are not so bad and who and what, then people go, oh, okay, that's fine. And we as black folks are like, no, they're still terrible to us. I mean, we're still suffering. And then that, the abolish police conversation goes away.
But
so
but there's degrees to it, right? I mean, if ICE is relatively new, then it should be relatively more easy to get rid of them. I feel like we need to get rid of the Patriot Act, the Homeland Security Department, ICE, and that would be one layer. I know it's not a whole solution. And, there are degrees of policing, right? I mean, there's community policing as opposed to sort of what we're back to now, the stop and frisk, broken windows, militarized brand. Or do you see that differently?
I mean, I see that differently just because I'm looking at the history of it. And I'm understanding that what happens is that people get comfortable. Again, Holman worked for Obama. He wasn't doing all this when he worked for Obama. Obama was the reporter-in-chief before Biden came and took his crown, got on the throne. But, so at that time, that's what was happening. We're not going to pretend that wasn't the case. But come on, it wasn't this. It wasn't this. It wasn't invasion of the body snatchers, worst abuses used as the policy manual. It was terrible. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it wasn't this. Like you said, there's degrees. But because that was allowed to exist, because what came before President Obama was allowed to exist, it grows, it grows, it grows. And when it's time to flip the switch, they have all the machinery, all of the setup, all of the narrative to be able to do that. And then people have to die, be shot in the face, be shot 10 times. 30 people died in ICE. 5-year-olds have to be dragged off before people, shake off the confusion and remember that this is a dangerous system. That shouldn't be the way it is.
Attorney Nana Gyamfi is our guest. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. FBI Director Kash Patel appeared to defend immigration agents involved in the fatal shooting of ICU nurse Alex Preddy.
You do not get to attack law enforcement officials in this country without any repercussions. You do not get to do that in Minnesota, LA, or anywhere else.
Speaking on Fox News, Patel said he trusts trained agents to use deadly force only when absolutely necessary. A black Maryland hairstylist has been sentenced to 5.5 years suspended after dragging a client by her hair in a viral video. 19-year-old Jayla Cunningham pled guilty and will serve probation and receive mental health treatment. And Monday marked 6 years since the helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, and 7 others between the ages of 13 and 56. There were no survivors. The chopper went down in heavy fog in Calabasas. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Luka Doncic had a fun time in Chicago last night. 46 points, 12 assists, and 7 rebounds in the Lakers' 129-118 win over the Bulls. LeBron scored 20 of his 24 points in the first half. The Lakers are 3-1 on their 8-game road trip. The Clippers are back in action tonight at Utah. It's a national TV game on NBC, 7 p.m. tip-off. The Clippers have the NBA's best record in January at 10-3. The Chargers officially announced former Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel as their new offensive coordinator. Interesting note about Seattle Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold. Darnold will be the first former USC quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. Darnold was the number 3 pick in the 2018 draft by the New York Jets. 3 other quarterbacks taken in the first round in 2018 have yet to make it to the Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
February 4th is Transit Equity Day. To mark the occasion, Metro is offering free rides all day on the 4th. Providing safe, accessible, and affordable transportation is a commitment Metro makes year-round. Learn more at thesource.metro.net. Still battling a thirsty lawn that guzzles water and drains your wallet? Let LADWP turn that patch of grass into a gorgeous, drought-smart garden for free. We're talking a full California-friendly landscape makeover designed and installed by pros at no cost to you. That's right, LADWP does the work, you get the upgrade. Ready to transform your yard and save big? Visit ladwp.com/leap. That's ladwp.com/LEAP.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth.
Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome. We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
We don't. Nana Gyamfi is with me. She is an attorney, but also the executive director of Black Alliance for Just Immigration. And I know that folks can join you. I know you've got a number of activities and a new program that you're rolling out in the middle of all the chaos. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, so it's interesting because we started working on this actually in June of last year with the invasion of the body snatchers in Los Angeles, and thinking through how can we help folks to make meaning of what's going on. And we really sort of hit a fevered pitch, of course, in what we see happening in Minnesota, where we're hearing a lot about people trying to come understand what is happening, right? So the focus, as we talked about earlier, on ICE and not really understanding that there's other agents around. This not understanding the ways in which ICE is actually part of law enforcement. So you hear people saying things like, ICE is not law enforcement. Real law enforcement wouldn't do that. And it's like, yeah, ICE is law enforcement. They have training. They do all of those things. And they work with other law enforcement agencies. And more importantly, and most importantly, understanding and connecting the fact that the immigration enforcement system in this country, like the criminal enforcement system in this country, is rooted in anti-Blackness. It's rooted in the same anti-Blackness, right? It has the same roots in terms of chattel slavery and this effort to control Black people by force that does not exist, quote unquote, anymore under a chattel slavery system. And it is rooted in Blackness by how it started. The first people who were told they could not come to this country were not Indians, were not Chinese, but in fact were Haitians who had freed themselves at a time in which in the United States, chattel slavery still existed. And so there was a prohibition of those free Haitians from coming into this country and restrictions and limitations. And so it's important. And then we have, of course, Haitians in Guantanamo Bay in the 90s, the building of this whole detention prison system based upon the incarceration of Haitians there and in detention camps in Florida. And so this is not new when it comes to Black folks, as you've talked about, earlier in this show. And to get people to recenter, to have an understanding of what's happening here with the real historical context and practical right now reality. And so we're calling this framework that we're offering, this set of values we're offering in this invitation, Stop Taking Our People, which is STOP for short, right? And so it's a demand, it's a framework, it's a warning, it's an invitation. And as part of that, we're asking people to, do what you can, do what you must, whether that be contacting folks so they can defund DHS, whether that be helping to shut down detention prisons and other prisons, whether it be lifting up that, when we're talking about policing, that the systems are together, or follow us in our experiment that we're calling Break the Ice Machine. As you know, Dominique, and most folks, when these invasions are happening, the body snatchers are not teleporting here and then back to their homes, before the end of the evening. They're taking people from New Orleans, they're taking people from other cities and having them go to Minneapolis, come to LA, go to Maine, right? And these other places that they are invading at this time. And those people have to stay somewhere. They got to sleep somewhere, and they're not sleeping on the sidewalk. They're sleeping in hotels. And what we are saying is we want to attack that pillar, that hotel pillar, that hospitality pillar that is holding up these body snatchers, that there should be no one tucking these body snatchers in at night. And so we're asking folks to join us in breaking the ice machine, pun totally intended, by boycotting Hilton.
Okay.
And we're picking Hilton for a reason, or for many reasons. The first reason is that Hilton picked itself. And you know how Black folks are. We love it when you pick yourself, okay? Target picked itself. Home Depot picked itself. And Hilton picked itself. In Minneapolis, there was a franchise, many of us folks here may have heard, a Hampton Inn, that had decided that it was not going to take reservations for the body snatchers. It said our workers are scared, our patrons are scared, we are scared, and so we're not taking reservations. DHS and Fox News got hold of it, right? The Department of Homeland Security and Fox News, and of course they made a big deal out of it. All the other Hiltons were happily taking body snatchers in the Minneapolis Twin City area. And so the hotel headquarters, Hilton's headquarters, not Hampton, not the one that actually refused, but their bosses basically, wrote a response to DHS saying, you know what, we don't know what they tripping off of. It's against our values to deny the body snatchers reservations. We gonna talk to them. We'll resolve it. How did they resolve it? The next day, the Hilton announced that the Hampton Inn no longer was a franchise of theirs.
Wow.
So we said, great. You have picked yourself. It doesn't hurt that their CEO has said that the Trump policies are fabulous, particularly the economic policies. He's so enjoying the tax benefits that give money to the billionaires instead of investing in the people. And in the first Trump administration, they were already donors and to both the run for presidency as well as the inauguration. So we're saying, Hilton, you true to this, not new to this, and we are going to ask our folks, and we're asking our folks to apply commercial pressure to boycott Hilton and all its franchises until they publicly indicate that they are going to refuse reservations to the body snatchers, make them figure out where else they can go. But they can't stay there.
Okay, so your programs right now are stop taking our people, and break the ice machine, which includes the boycott of Hilton. But if people want more specifics, and I think this is actually really helpful, given the other piece of that conversation about why some Black and Latino activists don't want to join these sort of majority or white-led protests, is that you give specifics about how to show up. This is what we would like you to do. It's not random. I think there's people that are new to protesting, new to resistance, often think it's willy-nilly and don't realize there is a science to it.
Absolutely. There is a science to it. It's not just, I'm mad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But James Brown, I'm mad. And then you just run out into the street. No, that is not what's happening. Because we did that before and we saw that didn't, within 3 years. Think about what 2020 was. Within 3 years. Within 4 years, they're electing this fool. And here we are. You know what I'm saying? And so it's really important that we're organized. We are actually launching these campaigns tomorrow. So I'm going to give people 2 pieces of information. You can join us for our webinar launch. It's at 10 a.m. tomorrow Pacific time, but it's national. So, it's 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern, because I know everybody listens to KBLA across the country and the world. And so you can go to bit.ly, right? So it's bit.ly / webinar, stop taking our people. And all the words are capitalize the first letter. So capitalize the W in webinar, the S in stop, you get it. Webinar, stop taking our people. You will hear from me. You will hear from Advancement Project, which is one of the premier civil rights organizations national in this country. You will hear from someone from Movement for Black Lives. You will hear from someone from Rising Majority. You will hear from, which is like a network that deals with issues both, of immigration, poverty, war, etc. And you'll hear from someone from Mayday Strong, representing workers who in this moment you can imagine how the terrified hotel workers are as they get up in the morning and see people looking like Bovino action dolls, but who actually engage in real violence, running around asking for coffee and towels. And so we'll be sharing with folks more about Stop and Break the Ice Machine. You can also follow Baji on all the social media spaces, or the major ones at any rate. I always tell people Instagram is the fastest, right? If you have Instagram, which is at Instabaji. But you can also find us on Facebook and I think we're still on X, even though it's a sad situation over there. But you can find us there as well, LinkedIn, and plug in to what is happening with Stop and Break the Ice Machine. We are part of the We Ain't Buying It campaign that you heard Latasha Brown talk about. She was like, sister, we going to give hell to Hilton. I said, all right, let's make it happen. And so she's adding us to that campaign. We have faith leaders that are stepping up with the theme of no room for Hilton, no room for ICE. There's a lot of excitement around this campaign. People are ready for it. And as you said, it gives folks a way to plug in, particularly as we see all of these major sporting events that are coming up over some of these months.
Girl.
How we can work with that.
Attorney? I got questions about that. Attorney Nana Gyamfi is my guest. We are talking all things America, particularly in the immigration space, as she is the executive director of Black Alliance for Just Immigration. Baji tweets, Instabaji, if you're trying to follow, and get on the webinar tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We got more straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned, homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized, the families who watched their inheritance disappear, the wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney Nana Gyamfi is with us, and so I have a bunch of questions still. As usual, I'm going to try to squeeze them in. The NRA and other gun rights groups have been really speaking out, have been quite upset about the murder of Alex Pretty and the response. Specifically with the response by Bill Asaley, our own California racist, who's now the prosecutor for the Trump administration. And it seems like that is making the White House at least appear to show that they're going to make some adjustments. I think pulling that, that guy, the one Bovino doll, the action figure doll, pulling him out. And to your point, maybe talking about investigations, hopefully maybe firing, what's her name?
No.
Homeland Security Barbie, yeah. So
see all the doll figures here?
Yeah.
Just action doll figures to the left and right.
Do you see change here? Do you think that this, what do you take away from the NRA and these gun rights groups? Go, okay, you killed a white guy, and you're saying it's because he had a gun, even though he had a permit, and the gun wasn't even drawn.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, again, this is going to grab everybody. People don't believe that when you say that. And so because there's been such this cozy relationship between the NRA and the regime, they're thinking, oh, this is, where it's not going to touch us. Yes, it is. It's going to touch you because it's going to be the natural response of people, by the way, and you've seen that, I'm sure, as I have, to say, hey, if these body snatchers are going to be acting like this, I'm going to go and get guns, because I need to protect myself against the state, which is what the NRA allegedly is about, actually, right? Protecting yourself against government tyranny or whatever. And so, yes, that means that they're going to be in this game. So we will see what the NRA will do with their cake.
It's interesting because a lot of people wanted them to speak out about Philando Castile, and they barely did. And it's not just them. There's a bunch of other gun rights groups, and they've specifically gone after Saley, and apparently, Trump talked with the governor of Minnesota yesterday and said they had a good call. What does that mean? I don't know. I think it
has a good call with everybody. Everybody. He
it's
said,
always
the call was great. The person was like, I hate you. And he's like, they love me. It's delusional.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, you've laid out steps, and people can go on your webinar for people to get involved. So it sounds like you agree that the people pushing back, whether it's white people, black people, or Latinos, or all of the above, is part of the solution here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the engine of the solution. Their engine is anti-blackness. Our engine is multiracial, working class solidarity. Our chairman, peace be unto him, Fred Hampton, taught us that, right? That you don't fight fire with fire, you fight fire with water. And so if they're looking for, and we know they are, a racist Euro future that is controlled by billionaires, and just a few of them, we know that we've got to fight that, not with like our own black version, right? But actually with a multi-racial, black-centered, working class solidarity that pushes back against that and defeats it. That is the only way that we're going to defeat them. Everyone else will fall in line. We already see that the institutions by themselves are not the protectors. They were set up to not be the protectors.
Yeah.
We have to keep us safe.
Yeah, I think that's right. We probably don't have enough time for this, but you can give me a quick comment. The data that I'm reading shows that the Trump administration is not actually deporting more people than the past two administrations, past three, in that they are detaining more. Does that point to this idea that they're just going to use people as slave labor, or are they going to get around to deporting these people? What's your analysis here?
And then my analysis is exactly what you said. They're holding on to people for slave labor, and also because it's profiteering on the part of these private prisons. They were going down the tubes. We had fought against them. They were shutting them down, and they, now are making more money than they ever have before. It's always about money, and it's about the shock value. And frankly, when people are deported, people don't think about them anymore. You've got to let people see the suffering, right? It's got to be the Coliseum. They got to see the suffering, see people be torn up by the lions, and that doesn't happen if you've already sent them off to Eswatini.
The cruelty is the point. It feels like they're also shooting, well, not feels like, we see them shooting down American citizens in the streets and detaining and going into people's houses. Do we even have a Fourth Amendment? I read about this ICE memo where they've told them folks, the ICE agents, they can just go in even without a warrant.
Yeah, we have a Fourth Amendment. The thing, just because they've been told that they can do it doesn't make it that all of a sudden the Constitution does not exist, but it's only as good as the Constitution is only as good as the capacity to actually enforce it, right? To actually have consequences, etc. And that's, again, where the people come in. We've got to decide what the things are going to be. And it's not going to be one by one individual arrest and convictions of folks. I'm abolitionist, so I don't believe in that anyway. But even if I did, we see from the policing side that you're not going to one-by-one police arrest and conviction our way out of this. We're going to have a totally different system. And that's going to require a lot of work and movement, but it's worth it.
Why do you suppose they're arresting, harassing, killing American citizens. I mean, it doesn't seem like a good way to get voters on your side.
They don't care about getting voters on their side. They steal votes. Dominique, they don't care about voters. They steal votes. They steal elections. They don't care about voters. What they care more about control. And physical control is, does more and is faster than any electoral control would ever be. And so we see that, they are doing everything they can to unfasten those mechanisms in terms of voting mechanisms that allow for a multiracial democracy. They care about force, and they want white U.S. citizens who are, the creme of the creme, the nicest and most wonderful people, to tremble in their wake. So exactly what they want to have happen is what they're doing.
That's pretty much the fascist playbook. Remind people how to get in touch with Baji and how to tap in tomorrow for your webinar.
So, again, the best way to tap into Baji really is through social media to have interaction. And so that's going to be at InstaBaji on Instagram, Baji tweet on X, and we're also on Facebook. And the webinar is a bit.ly link. It's bit.ly webinar, Stop Taking Our People. All the words have a capital letter at the front. Webinar, Stop Taking Our People. And that is at 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Look forward to getting with people there.
Yeah, well, thank you, Attorney Nana Gyamfi, for all the work you're doing, but also for this great conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. Always great to be on with you, Dominique. You use the bestest. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you. News, traffic, and sports. Then the phone lines are wide open. If you heard something you agree, you disagree, or anything in between, call me. We got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580.
Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. FBI Director Kash Patel appeared to defend immigration agents involved in the fatal shooting of ICU nurse Alex Preddy.
You do not get to attack law enforcement officials in this country without any repercussions. You do not get to do that in Minnesota, LA, or anywhere else.
Speaking on Fox News, Patel said he trusts trained agents to use deadly force only when absolutely necessary. A Black Maryland hairstylist has been sentenced to 5.5 years suspended after dragging a client by her hair in a viral video. 19-year-old Jayla Cunningham pled guilty and will serve probation and receive mental health treatment.